Okay, welcome back to part three. So we've talked about the most important stuff. I mean, obviously the most important wireless technology you're going to be working with on a daily basis is Wi-Fi, 802.11 something, probably G or N. There are some other wireless technologies which I want to talk about very briefly, but they're just not as important, but maybe in the future. So the first one, Bluetooth, is frequently talked about in textbooks, and I'm not exactly sure why, just because it's so oriented towards consumer technology as opposed to really large-scale business applications. Most people are already familiar with Bluetooth technology in terms of the distance limitation and the throughput limitations, but this is great for personal devices. It's a very short distance, less than 10 meters, very slow. I think the idea of interfacing with a watch is cool, but again, this has very little to do with business for me, which is why I just kind of skip over Bluetooth. Sorry if this is your favorite topic, but there are some others that are kind of interesting. A student last semester was talking about Zigbee. Notice the similar IEEE number, 802.15.4, is Zigbee wireless, which is low power, low data rate, long battery life applications. I've got this in green because this is just an interesting FYI. And sometimes in manufacturing this is used. There are a couple of case studies out there. But I want to move ahead quickly to some that I do want you to know, at least for exam purposes. So we've talked about 802.11i at length. Bluetooth we're kind of skipping over, but I do want to briefly address near-field communication and ultra-wideband communication and talk about the difference. So the first one, NFC, short distance, low speed. This is primarily for smartphone applications. So the way I think of NFC applications is swiping your cell phone near a device that's going to pick up the NFC transmission. So paying for a bus fare. We don't do this so much in the U.S. as far as I know, but in other countries this is getting very, very popular. Some places in Europe, a lot of places in Asia. There are some possible applications for opening car doors and turning on the ignition, for physical security, going into a building instead of swiping a badge. Maybe just swipe your smartphone. I can see that. There for retail payments, for tracking points and coupons. I can see these as potentially commercial applications that make NFC a little more viable. And then the second one, ultra-wideband transmission, is very low power but very high speed, higher speed than NFC. And these are for very specific applications. Don't quote me on this, but if you want to think of it as beefed up Bluetooth, that's okay. Technically that's not a good comparison, but in the sense of the applications that you're using it for wireless USB devices such as a camera. So instead of hooking up a serial connection, you could do a UWB connection to wirelessly get your photos off your camera that much faster onto the PC, and especially for doing wireless video. So there are some potential applications here, but it's still early. So here's kind of a little summary of the differences. I don't expect you to memorize the distance limitations, the typical speeds. I just don't think this stuff is that important. I do want you to really memorize the 802.11 speeds on previous slides. So that said, I do want to address kind of the future of Wi-Fi, coming back to Wi-Fi technologies. And let me just show you a quick Network World article. If I switch over here, and I'm going to have to pause. Okay, unpaused. I guess we'll figure out if I'm good enough with editing these videos, if I can take that out, but I'll probably leave it in. What the heck. Anyway, here's that article from Network World. It's called Gigabit Wi-Fi, Not So Fast. And I wasn't sure if that meant not so fast, like it's not getting deployed yet, or not so fast. And I think it's in the second sense that it's talking about. So 802.11 AC is the latest Wi-Fi. I can't say standard because it's not standardized yet, in the sense that the standard has not been ratified. However, you can buy an 802.11 AC wireless access point. I don't like the term router here because you and I both know that a router works at layer 3, an access point works at layers 1 and 2. But if an AC router is spec'd out to be at gigabit speeds, 1.3 gigabits is what the standard says, this review is saying, well, when we tested them out, so far 400 megabits per second is all we're getting. That's still darn fast, right? So they looked at Cisco and Asus and D-Link and Buffalo Technology, I've never used them, and Netgear, and consistently got a third of the speed of what they're supposed to get. So I'm not saying this isn't ready for prime time yet, because it's certainly way fast, but consider that businesses won't be adopting this anytime soon because it's expensive to replace all of your access points. So with that, the last one I want to show you is another, no, not the League. I'm going to show you this page. I think this is fascinating stuff, kind of the future of, it's not even a Wi-Fi technology, because instead of sending a radio signal, they're working on a wireless method, sending information via light as the medium. So kind of similar to a fiber optic cable, but just sending a light signal, blinking super fast in different frequencies to send data. So this is called Li-Fi, and they're talking about transmission speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. Oh my God. Now this won't be anytime soon, but I'm so sorry. The potential in the future of putting a small microchip in every illumination device, basically every light bulb becomes a wireless transmitter. That intrigues me. So there is a TED Talk out there if you want to look at that video to get more information on this. I just want to show you kind of where wireless technology is going in the future, in the distant future. It's an interesting area. I can't possibly cover every aspect of wireless in CMIS 468, and I encourage you to do your own research. But hopefully this gives you a sense of where the technology is going, and you have a better sense of what you'll be responsible for on the exam. Thanks, and have a great weekend.